Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to this video. So for today's video I am going to be doing my February wrap up, and I had a really good reading month. I would say I read in total 9 books, which is less than in January, but I also started school like in February, so I didn't have that much time to read because I still have a lot of other things to focus on. I also have a job and other stuff that I also like to do, but I still felt like 9 books was a pretty good chunk of books, and I'm really excited to share my thoughts with you. So first of all, I want to say I actually don't have any of these books like on me because I'm pretty sure they were all library books and most of them have already returned to the library. So I'm obviously, as I normally do when I don't have the physical copy, I'm just gonna insert a picture, and I hope that's fine with you guys. The first book that I read in the month of February was We Should All Be Feminists by, I've actually practiced saying her name, so I'm trying, okay? I can't remember in my head though. So her name, I think, is Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. Seriously, I've heard so many talking about her, and I've seriously tried to pronounce her name myself, but I'm still sorry if I butcher it, but it's not an easy name to pronounce. Let me just tell you that one. So I rated this book 5 out of 5 stars. I feel like this is a must-read for everyone. I totally agree with everything she says, and it's only like 50 pages, so I feel like everyone can get through this pretty quickly. I must admit, I actually did read it in Danish, not that I think there's any like difference. It's just because I didn't purchase it, I borrowed it at the library, and because I'm Danish, we're not able to get all books in English, and I could only get it in Danish, but I thought that was fine. The next book that I read was The Memory of Light, and this is by an author's name called, I think it's like Francisco X. Stork. I rated this book 5 out of 5 stars. This was amazing. This is like a contemporary that deals with mental health kind of thing. We follow this, okay, first of all, I read this like a long time ago, even though it was in February, it was still in the start, so I cannot remember every like detail, but I can remember like overall what it was about. We follow this girl, and I cannot remember her name by now, but she has tried to commit suicide, and we are following her when she's at this hospital where she's meeting all of these other different kind of people that's also put there for a reason, and they start to become friends, and we hear a lot of like her thoughts, like how she is not comfortable with going home because she doesn't feel ready, she's not sure if she would try to commit suicide again and stuff like that. It was amazing. I thought it was so well written. I thought it was incredible, and I will definitely recommend you guys reading it because I definitely thought it was really, really good. Then I read A Brown Girl Dreaming by Jacqueline Woodson. Yes, I do have to look down at my phone because I have all the books there because I cannot remember the authors' names and I can never really pronounce them. I rated this book 4 out of 5 stars. I like this book. We basically, I think, we hear about her life when she was a little girl growing up, and it's like written in verse, I think. Is that what you call it? Not 100% sure. I liked it, but I'm not really into that type of thing when you are written, like when the stories has been written in verse. I don't like that, but it's fine. I still did enjoy it though. The next book that I read is The Book of You, and this is by Claire Kendall. Yes, I did actually remember that without looking down just afterwards. I rated this 3 out of 5 stars. This was a thriller, and I'm pretty sure it's like a psychological thriller. I liked it. I did not love it at all. I thought there was a lot of things missing, but what I can remember is that we follow this girl that is being stalked by one of her co-workers, I believe, and he's just being a really creep. I think that's what I like the most in books about people that are being stalked, is that some of the authors has a really good way to capture how creepy the stalkers are. This doesn't in a really dramatic way, I feel like, though. Obviously I'm gonna say how, but you guys can read that for yourself. I liked it, but I was not loving it. I kind of felt like maybe it was a bit too long. It could probably have been written shorter. I don't know. The main plot of this book is definitely just we follow this girl and she's being stalked and he's a creeper. The next book that I read was Children of the Dark by Jonathan Janz. I rated this book 4 out of 5 stars. This is a mixture between a thriller and a horror book, and I definitely do see now why it's also more like a horror book because there are unrealistic things in this book. I'm not going to mention that much about that because that was spoiled something. But this mainly follows a guy, and he has these friends, and they are like having crushes on these girls, but they have boyfriends, and their boyfriends are the other guy's biggest enemy and stuff like that. It's good. I liked it, definitely. And then there's also this serial killer on the loose, and stuff is about to go down. It was good though, I liked it. The next book that I read is The Wonder by Emma Donegal, and I rated this 3 out of 5 stars. I am pretty sure that The Wonder is historical fiction, and we follow, first of all, this is supposed to be set in the 18th century, I believe, and we follow this nurse that is going to Ireland to take care of a girl. She's 11 years old and she has not been eating for like 4 months, and this nurse has to like observe her 24/7 basically to see if she sneaks food in or whatsoever. And I feel like it was a really weird book. It was definitely not something for me. I did enjoy it though. I thought it was kind of interesting because, like, why isn't she eating? Is someone feeding her? What the beep is going on? But I don't know. I feel like the writing style maybe was not my cup of tea, and I'm really skeptical because I own Room by Emma Donegal as well, and I've been so excited for this book, and I just have a feeling that I'm not gonna like that because I really didn't like The Wonder, but I know the concepts are completely different. I'm just afraid that I don't like the writing style in that book. But whatsoever, it was not really my cup of tea. I don't know if historical fiction is just in general not my cup of tea, but this book was not really something I loved at all. But it was still fine, and I still rated it 3 stars. The next book that I read is This Is Where It Ends by an author's name I cannot pronounce, Marike Nijkamp. Yeah. So I rated this 4 out of 5 stars, and I really went into this book having first high expectations, and then they kind of turned to low expectations. I've always wanted to read this book. Okay, always. Since it came out, I've been wanting to read it, but I've also heard really bad things about it. And, oh, first of all, this is about a school shooting, and we follow this from around 4, I think, different perspectives. I must admit, I actually did like it. There were actually a few times where I could cry. I do think I guess why people do not like it, because personally, from what I have looked on reviews, people don't really feel like they get any sort of connection with the characters, and I agree in that. I don't feel connected basically to any of the characters. I don't know why, but I don't really feel like we are getting to know these people. And also because the story follows 4 different perspectives, we are not following the same character all the way through. But we don't really know anything about them as well. But yeah, I don't know, school shooting just got to me. It really made me sad. The next book that I read is The Way It Used to Be by Amber Smith. Oh my freaking god, this was amazing. I rated it 5 out of 5 stars. This was incredible. I really liked it. So we follow this girl, and she's a survivor of sexual assault. And it's absolutely horrible to hear about it, but then we basically follow her through her freshman year where it happened, and then her, freshman year where it happened, and then it's a junior year or senior year. I think there's something in between that I'm not quite sure why that is there. I don't know the US school system because we don't have the same here in Denmark. But I think we follow her for like 3 years. And in the start, it happens, and then we follow the aftermath of it. And it's really interesting to see how she is developing as a person and as a character in the book. It's really interesting, and that's what the main thing also is about. Obviously, there's also some other things, but the main thing is how she's dealing with it, how she's coping with it, and changing throughout the book. And it was really, really, really good. There were times where I did not like her as a character at all, but then I started liking her again, and it was a seriously roller coaster, but I love this book. The last book I completed was A Year Without Mom by, once again I have to look down, Dasha Tolstikova. I believe she's a Russian author. And this was a graphic novel, and basically, really short, it's about a girl called Dasha, so I think this is like a memoir. She has to live a year without her mom because her mom is traveling to the US, so she's just living alone in Russia, doing stuff. Wasn't really like anything interesting. I rated it 4 out of 5 stars because I was loving the art in this. I thought it was gorgeous, and yes. I also want to show you guys the book that I'm currently reading, and that is A Good Me and Bad Me by Ellie Land. And this is really, really, really good. I'm really loving this book. We follow this girl called Millie, and her mom is a serial killer, and she has to testify against her mother in a few weeks, and now we're just following her before she has to go to court and testify, and it's really interesting. And then there's obviously a lot of other things going on, but I am loving this book so much. I think it's so good and interesting, and I did not expect it to love this as much as I do, but I do. And if you guys didn't already know, this is a thriller, obviously, because I am digging the thrillers at the moment. I am. And I also just want to mention really quickly that I am not going to be doing a TBR thing because I'm just all over the place with books now. I have no idea what I want to read, and I don't feel like just picking like 5 random books. I feel like I want to read those because I have no idea what I feel like at the moment. So I'm probably just going to skip my March TBR, but hopefully there will be one up for next month. I cannot promise anything. And I'm sorry if there's been any noise. There's a lot of restriction thing going on outside, so I apologize for that. But that was my very long, once again, February wrap up. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down below if you have read any of these books, and let me know which books you have read this month. I would really like to know, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!